Welcome to SDH's coverage of the USL League Two title game. Seacoast United Phantoms traveling to Peoria to take on Peoria City Soccer. We'll take you over how these two teams got to this particular moment in time later tonight, 8:30 Eastern time, in Peoria at Shea Stadium. Not that one, the one in Peoria. And we will find out who the top team is in USL League Two for 2024. Let's go over the most recent run for Seacoast United Phantoms and how they ended up in the last match of the year in USL League Two. Here's some coverage from our friends at WMUR-TV in Manchester, New Hampshire, as well as the deciding moments for the matchup at Lions Bridge as they beat Asheville City SC 1-0. Here's your highlights and your sound to prep you on Seacoast United Phantoms.
The Seacoast United Phantoms are playing for a national championship this weekend for the first time in team history. The pre-professional soccer team made up of some of the top college athletes in the country. The Phantoms have dominated this season with a 13-0-1 record. They'll play just outside of Chicago on Saturday against Peoria City in the USL League Two National Final. One of the Phantom players is Marco DeSantos of Wyndham. He's a sophomore at Boston College.
I think it means a lot because this program's been very close in the last 3 or 4 years. We've been very conference finals and stuff like that. So I think getting over that hump and actually getting there is pretty special for us.
And I think it puts not only Seacoast on the map, but New Hampshire soccer as a whole. So it means a lot, and we're hoping we can come back and with some silverware and represent New England and also New Hampshire.
For a second straight season, the Seacoast United Phantoms won their division and they are heading to the playoffs. It's a pre-professional soccer team made up of some of the best collegiate athletes from across the country. They play their home games in Epping as part of the USL League Two, so the playoffs are now set. The Phantoms will be one of 32 teams competing for a national title. They travel to Long Island this week to face Hudson Valley Friday afternoon.
And like I said, we've got numerous different nationalities. We've got players coming from, West Virginia, some schools in Florida, San Diego State, Maryland, a lot of different schools. But like I said, I think that the caliber of players is good, but we're lucky with the setup we have at Seacoast United. The owners back it. We've got good resources. The facilities are good.
And Condi, the cross to the middle. Oh, and it's still in play. And it's headed in. There is your first goal of the game. Seacoast United strikes first.
Opening goal in the 70th minute, and what a huge goal that is, especially for the team that's been playing defense for the majority of this contest. Asheville, heartbreaking goal to give up here at such a late stage of this game, especially after knocking on the door so hard for the last 10 minutes, testing the goalkeeper down at the other end. Mentioned Seacoast earlier and how the Phantoms have been doing a great job with those counterattacks, just moving with speed down in the other direction. That ball pinball around inside the 18. Nishikawa, right place at the right time. He delivers at the perfect time for the Phantoms.
Now to the flip side and finding out what is going on with Peoria City. And we'll start things off with our friends at Channel 25 and 25 News now in Peoria as they break it down about the special relationship that the front office has with the city, with Bradley, and with soccer, and then the SDH conversation that we had with Matt Sheehan Tuesday morning early as Peoria City was getting ready to host the USL League Two title game.
To soccer, Peoria City plays for a national title this Saturday night on their beautiful soccer pitch, Shea Stadium, a stadium that was kind of built to support the great programs of the current Peoria City presidents.
Jim DeRose retired last year after nearly 3 decades as Bradley Braves soccer coach. But Jim DeRose is still pacing the sidelines on soccer game day. He's in his first year as Peoria City president. Winning soccer is usually synonymous with Jim DeRose. His Peoria City franchise is now going to the national championship game in USL 2 soccer.
I've been very blessed to see some special things happen on this field as a Bradley coach and some other things, and this is pretty special to think where this is from this venture, just really starting full-time in January to see what's happened, and the community, the players, the coaching staff, it's remarkable.
DeRose is in his first year as Peoria City president, but he worked behind the scenes to bring this franchise to Peoria. He can't believe how fast the franchise has reached the top of the USL 2.
The vision, as they say, you build at the bottom of the pyramid. It was to establish a brand, to be a space in our community, affordable entertainment, all of those things, quality soccer, good people to our community. And, you hope if you do that, you'll win games. And to do this in our third year, it's, as they say, unprecedented. Our path here has been over teams in existence for 25 plus years, Thunder Bay, Flint, Des Moines. So we went through the gauntlet, and it's been something that, certainly is beyond special.
Jim DeRose's coaching trademark was the slogan, "Leave a Legacy." DeRose soccer legacy continues to grow and thrill Central Illinois fans.
No dilly, no dally zone. We're bringing in Matt Sheehan from our friends at Peoria City. And I blame us because we were talking, and that's why we were a 9:06 Eastern start instead of a 9:05. Matt, thanks for dropping by.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, having me on the show. Yeah, we were kind of just chatting it up, and I apologize for that, but really excited to be here. Thank you.
All right. So I'm going to violate my first tenet of my sideline reporting days. You're never supposed to ask this question, but I'm going to go ahead and ask it anyway. How does it feel to be in a title game?
Feels amazing. From the regular season to the playoffs, nobody could have written this. Everybody kind of honestly wrote us off from the get-go. Even before the season, we heard a lot of people kind of questioning the roster choices and even, just coaching and people. It wasn't D1, huge name schools with the players we were announcing and the coaches that we were announcing. But I think our front office staff and our ownership group knew some things that a lot of people just weren't really keen on yet. And it showed with our head coach, Mike Pay, just being phenomenal this season, taking these guys and leading them to the national championship. And really a group of guys from Clark University in Dubuque, Iowa, an NAIA school, just absolutely balling out on all of these other kids this summer. There's one story I've got to tell, and I'm not going to get into names or anything, but one of our kids was about to hit a PK a couple of weeks ago, and he's one of the guys from Clark, NAIA. And I'm on the field, so I hear a lot of things that maybe you don't hear on the live stream or in the stands. And the chirping about NAIA was very prevalent, and I was hearing it. And then our guy just sniped the PK past the goalkeeper. Beautiful shot. It was like justice was served. So, really, it is an underdog story, but we don't see ourselves as underdogs. I think our players and our coaches have known it from the start. We kind of had to get our swagger about us, and it took some time. But we had a huge first match. Take you back to the first match of the regular season. We're on the road in Des Moines facing the Menace. We get the 1-1 draw. At the time, Des Moines was number 4 in the nation. We weren't even ranked. And the same kid I was just referencing a couple weeks ago hit the PK. That first game, he hit the PK. Only goal of the game for Peoria City. Tied the game in the second half, and we got the draw, got the point on the road. And then if you look at our schedule right after that, we were beating teams 4-0, 6-0, 6-0. We played an exhibition game, won it 10-0. Just this crazy run. And I couldn't have imagined this or guessed this. Nobody could have. And it's been a beautiful thing to see.
You mentioned NAIA talent. And one of the things that has always been a part of our fabric and framework is that talent is talent. It doesn't matter where it comes from. It could come from, it could come from the North Pole. And if North Pole University is an NAIA school and they've got a dude who can ball, doesn't matter where they're chasing that degree. It just doesn't matter. And you could see everyone gravitates to the D1s and things like that and all of the hyped out programs. But NAIA programs, Division IIIs, junior colleges, the talent is there. You just have to know where to find it. And I think that speaks to the front office there and the coaching staff of finding these guys regardless of where they're hanging their hat.
I totally agree. And I've seen that more this summer than I've ever seen it. And it's helped me come to this realization. And the player I've been referencing a lot, his name's Luke Persenico.
Yes.
He's kind of from the Chicago area. You've probably heard the name now, right? This is a Clark University guy. But I'd really encourage any of your listeners to look up some of the local media in the Peoria area about the last couple of days about Luke's story, and our head coach has been pretty open about it, how before the season, because Mike Pay coaches at Clark, Luke Persenico plays at Clark, and so Mike Pay was calling teams in Chicago, calling Des Moines, calling a team in Aurora, and saying, hey, you should check out this guy, Luke. He's a really great player. You should look into taking him. They all passed on him. They denied him. And so when Coach Mike came to Peoria, he said, I'm taking Luke with me to Peoria. Now, Luke has, I think it's 7 goals in 4 games that we've won in the playoffs, and he was in the run for the Golden Boot in the regular season as well. I mean, really an incredible story. And the guy, I mean, Luke is so humble about it. You know, he's just a good guy. And I love his families at the games every single day that we play, and they're just fantastic as well. And so, you know, really a fantastic story of Luke and his background. Again, kind of another underdog story. And he's been able to silence a lot of the doubters, which you got to love in lower league soccer. So
what has it been like to build Peoria City as a franchise? Because I know that there's a great deal of personal pride that's involved. What has it been like to build this franchise to get it to where it is and accomplishing all these different things?
It's been insanity. Again, I don't think anybody could have ever guessed that we would be here in just 3 years of existence. So we were announced to come into Peoria. I believe it was 2020. We know what happened after that.
Right.
So we didn't even start until 2022. At that point, for myself personally, I was working in TV news. You couldn't really do other side hustles or jobs. So I was a fan in 2022. I was part of the 309, the supporters group. And my wife and I, you know, I remember us going to a game that summer of 2022 and buying a t-shirt and all that fun stuff. So the next year in 2023, you know, in the off season, things kind of went silent for Peoria City. You know, it was a summer team, summer staff. And once the summer was done, the interns went back to college or found another job in the fall, and it went dark, you know, really from whatever mid-July until early, what would that have been, 2023. And again, at the time, it was like January 2023. I was still working in TV news. I was the morning anchor, and we would host Peoria City on the morning show to do.
There you go. There's that crossover that I was looking for.
That's the crossover. And so I reached out to Bobby Parker, our current chief operating officer. And at the time, he was the communications director. And I said, hey, you know, are you guys coming back this season? We'd love to have you on the show. If you have any news for me, you know, just let me know. And he said, yeah, you know, we'll have some news for you soon. And maybe, you know, I'll come on the show in February. And so whatever. About 2 more weeks comes by, and Bobby calls me on the phone, and he says, hey, got any interest in doing communications for Peoria City this summer? And I was like, you know what? I'm actually in the process of leaving my TV news job. In January, I had announced that I was leaving the station in early February to go I do healthcare marketing for a local hospital system full time. It's my full-time job. And so with being able to switch over to that, I now had the flexibility to do, if you want to call it, a side hustle or a passion, right? And so I said, yeah, I'd absolutely like to meet and talk with you. And so we met. I joined as kind of a communications manager, kind of like an assistant. Bobby called me a couple weeks later, said, hey, I've got a ton of stuff going on this summer. You just want to take over communications for the summer?
Wow.
I was like, yes, I do. You know, sounds good. And so, yeah, again, kind of just jumped into it head first last year, preparing, very grassroots, very small, but really we had a 63% growth in attendance last year. And, you know, just we're doing a lot of other things, you know, at a professional level, like getting our jerseys updated and our social media presence, just all these different things. So leading us to today, though, you know, now we've got 2 full-time staff members and our president, Jim DeRose, Bobby Parker as our COO. I'm here, if you want to call me part-time. It's kind of
You've got 2 lives, Matt. Go ahead and face it.
Yeah. It's you know, it's pretty busy, especially weekends. Games are on the weekends and stuff. And I've traveled to almost every away game, and that's just how it is for Jim, Bobby, and I. It's a busy time in the summer. So, but they do fantastic work. Our managing partner, John Dorn, former Chicago Fire. He's owned a couple of franchises. He's been able to talk with him a lot lately and learn more about the history. And I don't want to botch anything, so maybe I'd leave that conversation to him. But it's just been fantastic. And so, in short, just from going to where we were in 2022 to where we are now, it's unbelievable.
Matt Sheehan, the VP at Peoria City, hanging out with us here, batting leadoff on the morning show. And they're in a title game against Seacoast. For those that may not be familiar, what does soccer mean to Peoria and the surrounding areas there in Illinois?
I think it's growing so much, but I think it's always been here. I've lived in Peoria for now 6 years, so I knew about it a little bit back in my TV news days. So I did sports somewhat often, more so when I started, kind of doing photography, videography, but you know what I mean?
Yep.
And fill-in anchoring on the weekends. And I remember a really cool story. I think it would have been like November of 2018, right after I'd graduated college in May. And then I had been working as a TV reporter at the local CBS affiliate. And one of our local high schools, Peoria Notre Dame, was playing in a state semifinal game up in the Chicagoland area. And so they sent me up there. We get up there, and it was a beautiful game. It was snowing. It was cold. All of my batteries died, but I got everything. They lasted to the last second, but all my batteries died. So I whipped out my cell phone because it went into PKs, and the goalkeeper stopped multiple shots. He scored his own. They had him shoot, and he was the backup goalkeeper for the season. The star goalkeeper had a shoulder injury, and so the backup came in, and so it was this beautiful game. They won it, and that was my first taste of Central Illinois soccer culture. Just learning about the powerhouse that is Peoria Notre Dame. And there's more schools around the area. Peoria Christian comes to mind as well. They both go to state pretty often and do a fantastic job. And there's things like Peoria FC United, Morton United, Central Illinois United. And I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri, right? And so I'm all familiar with Scott Gallagher and Lou Fuse and all these other nationally recognized programs. And Peoria's got them too, and I think that it's growing. I think the fact that Peoria City is here, kind of ups the ante a little bit, kind of increases the professionalism. It makes these kids want to play for Peoria City and at a pre-professional and professional level. We launched a U23 training program, and so a lot of these kids that are at Central Illinois United or Peoria FC United are getting a chance to train with the Peoria City guys in USL League Two and getting some reps. And that's been a huge success too. And I think, looking at that, hopefully we are able to grow that as the years go on. But yeah, I think you're really seeing a boom right now in the Peoria City soccer scene.
What about fan support? I know that there are some places in lower divisions that they'll have 25, 50, 75, 100 folks. In doing my research and following along with Peoria City and all of the big matchups that you guys have had in this postseason run, fan support has been off the charts. What's the fan support been like for someone who's been there in the trenches with all of this?
It's been crazy. Yeah, it is amazing. And I'm glad that you're able to see that maybe from the social media post and the digital engagement that we're really pushing, because we want to show people around the area and around the nation what's going on here in Peoria, Illinois. And there's a reason that USL League Two has chosen Peoria to host the playoffs 3 weekends in a row now. We hosted the first 2 weekends, the different pods, and then we were chosen again to host this upcoming weekend, Saturday night at Shea Stadium. And you ask about kind of fan engagement. Yeah, the first season, 2022, honestly, really great success. We were averaging over 700 people a game. For a first-year team, that's pretty darn good. That second year, we kind of, like I said, we hit social media really hard. We hit the local media. We were on radio and TV all the time, really driving that digital engagement, pushing, ticket sales and a family-friendly atmosphere. And that's what we provide even, to this day. And we want to provide that for years to come. And like I said, in 2023, we saw a 63% jump in fan attendance. We were almost 1,200 people a game. And I believe the last game of the season in 2023, we had over 2,000 people. It was just unbelievable. So then you get to this season, and we're kind of, riding that wave of really a lot of excitement, a lot of fan attendance, engagement. We had more engagement in the off season. They kind of kept me in the off season. I was pretty busy in this off season, which was not the case in 2022 for the team. And so we were going to events. We were hosting socials, watch parties for different international teams. I was working with O'Neill's in Ireland, to get this jersey worked out. We made an international partnership with the team in Germany, Peoria, Illinois' sister city of Friedrichshafen. We're doing a lot of things to garner support ahead of the 2024 season. And so I think on average, we're seeing about 1,700 fans a game this season. We've had a couple of crowds that were over the 2,000 number for sure. First game of the season. I believe it was one of our last playoffs games, was over 2,000 people. We hosted Chivas de Guadalajara, the U23 team for them, Tapatio. Mm-hmm. And we had 2,750 for one game and over 2,600 for the second game. We played them twice. And so fantastic fan support. We have an amazing supporters group, the 309. They're so passionate. They bring the drums, the horns. There's a trumpet, which is just fantastic. There's guys wearing fish heads on top of their heads. I mean, it's amazing. You kind of got to be there to see it and to hear it and feel it. You can see it on the TV. You can see it on social media, but being there, it's just another world. So
fish heads?
Fish hats, yeah, on your head. It's like a little fish, kind of like a fish hat. Because I probably should tell you, our unofficial mascot's the flying carp.
Ah, thank you. Okay.
So in the Illinois River, you've got these flying carp that are the invasive species, and you're boating and they're flying and you're dodging them left and right. So that was kind of a coined term back in 2022, and it's really stuck. And yeah, I mean, we've got one of our logos is a flying carp. We don't use it a lot, but you'll see it on some of our shirts. And yeah, there are people that have found fish hats that they've put on their heads for games. I mean, it's incredible.
Your run through the playoffs has been up against a lot of great football towns as well. And I mean, if you go back in your bracket, it was Flint City. Flint City has done really well there in an economically challenged part of the country. Then before that, it was Des Moines, and all about Des Moines and what they've done with the Menace there in League Two. And then before that, it's Thunder Bay with what they're doing north of the border. It's fun for me this time of year where I can sit here and, look at the right-hand side of the bracket. I know all about Asheville and what Asheville City's been able to do. And then you look at what FC Tucson has been able to do after they dropped from League One down to League Two. It's a lot of great soccer towns, a lot of great football towns that are making these impacts of these 2,000 plus attendances and things like that. I just think that that's one of the cool factors of USL League Two, for lack of a better phrase.
Yeah, we were talking about it the other day. You mentioned the three teams, Thunder Bay, Des Moines, and Flint City. Combined in those three teams are 7 USL League Two championships. So in this playoffs run, we've been able to defeat 7 championships worth of teams, which is crazy. And, we had a good game against FC Tucson, right? Very talented team. We had a thrilling, I wish I could have been a fly on the wall, but I was busy attending other duties. During halftime, our head coach, Mike Pay, really getting the guys back to where they needed to be, getting their heads right, because after the first half, it was 0-0. And it was not a good half. Our players would have told you that. They said in multiple interviews, we just did not play very well in that first half. And it's good that we weren't losing, that we didn't let up any goals. We have a phenomenal goalkeeper. I haven't talked about Sammy Slimmy from Paris, France. He plays at Campbell University. This guy we call him Super Sammy Slimmy because he's that good. In the regular season, he didn't let up one PK. He blocked every single PK that he faced. And then we faced PKs against Des Moines in the playoffs, and we won 4-2 in PKs. He blocked it. He blocked it in what was the greatest, a 5-5 game after 120 minutes.
Crazy.
Still going. So that guy, he's an animal. He's phenomenal. I can't wait to see where he goes in his professional career. I believe the world in him, the community is so behind him. And it's the same with Luke Persenico, and a lot of our guys. You could kind of go down the list and just say, man, these guys are super talented, but they're humble. They're good people. They're involved in our community, and it's just amazing. So, but going back to teams like Des Moines, we didn't get to the playoffs without having 2 draws against Des Moines in the regular season. That 1-1 game, first game of the year, and then our last home game of the season, a 2-2 draw. We wish we would have won that, because then we would have been Heartland Division champions. We would have had, I think, 1 more point than them if we would have won. But we were down 2 points at the end of the season to Des Moines, and so they were the Heartland champions for 2024. And they had a phenomenal season. They're great. Their fan support up in Des Moines is very strong, and it's been cool to see the 309 and the society up in Des Moines kind of collaborate and hang out at tailgates. I said it earlier on in the season, but I think the Heartland Division is one of, if not the best divisions in USL League Two. And this year, with what Des Moines had done and with what Peoria City had done, and then you've got teams like River Light and St. Charles that had phenomenal seasons too. You can't sneeze at the Heartland Division. We're definitely here, and we're here to stay.
And River Light being a new club on their own, making immediate impacts here in USL League Two. Cut the promo for me and let me know what the weekend's going to be like getting ready for a title game.
I really appreciate that. It's been great to be on with you today. So our title game, the national championship for USL League Two, is Saturday, August 3rd. It's at a 7:30 p.m. Central Time. I know a lot of your viewers are probably in Eastern Time, so 8:30 your guys' time, at 7:30 our time local. Shea Stadium in Peoria, Illinois. It's on the campus of Bradley University. So our tailgate lot, we always open it up at 4:30. We've got food trucks. We've got a juice tent coming. So we've got 3 different food and drink vendors that are coming on site to serve our fans. We've got a lot of great things going on. The stadium gates, I think we're going to open them up again 6:30. We always open about an hour ahead of game time. Kickoff's right about 7:30. The broadcast will be on the Peoria City Soccer YouTube channel. Would highly recommend checking that out, subscribing, letting us know how you like the broadcast from our guys at Clutch Sports Media. That's our official broadcast partner. It'll also be on Sports Engine Play, which is the official broadcast partner of USL League Two.
Peoria City hosting Seacoast United Phantoms USL League Two final, 7:30 Central Time kick on the weekend. Matt, thanks for dropping by this morning. Thanks for dropping all the knowledge about everything going on there in Peoria City. Have a fantastic week in preps. May the weather cooperate and have it not be as chaotic as it was in a previous round that led to a 10-goal thriller, which led to PKs and led to just general chaos and all of that stuff. Have a fantastic time hosting. Thanks for dropping by. Go get some breakfast. We'll catch up with you soon, my friend. Thanks again.
Thank you so much for having me on.
So that's your breakdown of everything going on in USL League Two. Go to Peoria City Soccer, PeoriaCitySoccer.com, and follow along on all of their social media. And you can watch through their social media campaigns and keep an eye on their YouTube channel as well. And you can watch Peoria City hosting Seacoast United Phantoms for the title match in USL League Two. That is your coverage of USL League Two here in SDH. Enjoy the championship game and the last game of the year to determine a title holder for 2024. I'm just John. Thanks for dropping by. Play it safe, everybody. Enjoy the game.